Hello, everyone, and welcome to Helping Parents Heal Book Club with Reverend Sue Frederick and her book, Angel Up. We're at Unity of Phx today, and it's Father's Day. I'm Lisa Wilcoxson. Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. HPH goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. HPH affiliate groups welcome everyone regardless of religious or non-religious background and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of HPH meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. And now I would like to invite Christy Majors up to introduce our guest and interview Sue. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Today's guest is a true beacon of light. Reverend Sue Frederick is a master numerologist, intuitive, ordained Unity minister, and the author of multiple books, including I See Your Dream Job, I See Your Soulmate, Sacred Numerology Workbook, and the newly released Angel Up, The Angel's Guide to Ascension. Her work blends ancient wisdom with modern spirituality, helping people align with their soul purpose and connect with divine guidance. She has been featured in the New York Times, CNN.com, and has taught workshops around the world. Sue's angelic ministry and coaching work have transformed thousands of lives. If you'd like to learn more about Sue, you can find her at SueFrederick.com. Today, we will be discussing Sue's book, her latest book, Angel Up. I hope you can see this beautiful cover, which also comes with a study guide, which you can probably get at Amazon.com. In this powerful new guide, she offers profound teachings from the angelic realm to help us rise above grief, fear, and confusion, and live from our soul's highest wisdom. Sue's work has touched thousands, and her story of divine guidance, healing, and purpose will uplift your heart and awaken your spirit. I'd like to welcome the Reverend Sue Frederick.
Hello, everybody. This is my favorite group of people in the world to talk to. So I'm very honored to be here today, especially with my friend Christy. So it's interesting that she's interviewing me because Christy and I kind of have a connection with the angels, which we can also talk about today. So
I thought we would start off with you just maybe sharing how this book came to be.
yeah. So back in 2023, an angel appeared on the wall of my room while I was working with clients. And it stayed long enough that I took a picture of it. It was a light being. And I even was texting her. I was on the phone, on the Zoom with my client, seeing this angel. And I was texting Christy going, Christy, there's an angel in my room. And Christy goes, ask it what it wants or something. And I went, okay, who are you? And we were communicating intuitively to this angel. And the angel said, I am your mother in the angelic realm, which really broke me open and made me very emotional. I had to explain all this to my client that I was working with, that there's an angel here now. And it meant something to the client as well. And when I finished this session, I was very much aware that the angel was giving me a download and that it wasn't about me. It was about some work that the angelic realm was asking me to do. And over time, they would give me pieces of it and I would start to write a book. In fact, I even at one point told Christy, I said, look, I already got in like 30,000 words of this new book. And then life gets busy. And then actually I got sick. And so a lot of things happened that made me put it on the back burner. But as soon as I started to kind of get back on my feet and get back in my groove again, the angels were just keeping me up at night, telling me the name of this book, telling me all the chapter headings, telling me I needed to get it now because the world needed it. And I'm a pretty good channel through automatic writing because I've been a writer my whole life. So I'm very used to listening and writing. So I said, okay. And I started downloading the first book and it came through me like I've never experienced before. And within pretty much a week, I had the whole draft complete. So when I finally got that published on Amazon, I thought, okay, I'm done. And the angels were like, nope, you have to do book 2, the study guide. And I was like, study guide? What's a study guide? And they were, you want people around the world to talk about angels, and you can put prompts and discussion topics in here, and people can hold their own little discussions and group talks. So I downloaded that one. And then there was a third, which is now out on Amazon, and it's called the Angel Up Journal, so that you can write your own downloads from the angels. So all of that came through, and what I know to be true is that they're telling us that things have changed on Earth, and we are really being asked to step up to our higher selves, our angelic selves. And they're also trying to tell us that they, as a realm of helper beings, are closer to us than ever before and really available to heal and help us and uplift us. And that we have to acknowledge and pay attention to that.
I know, just because I know you personally, that there seemed to be a sense of urgency in writing this book.
Yeah.
What do you think that comes from, and how do you think that this message in this book is important for this time and space?
Well, I think everybody on Earth right now looks around and sees the energy of the planet right now is such an intense interplay of light and dark. All the great things and all the hard things are all at an accelerated vibration here on Earth. And people who, it doesn't matter what political things you believe in, no matter what people believe in, people are feeling angst and worry and discouragement and fear, all kinds of things. And the angels are trying to tell us that this is our moment as humans. This is where we're being asked to carry our light of angelic wisdom, angelic presence, of unconditional love, compassion into every situation. It's a shift from the time when we would just argue our ideas and it was kind of fun or interesting. Those times are kind of over. Now it doesn't matter what we believe. We have to learn to bring our light to any conflict, any darkness, because our light is greater than all darkness and all challenges. And the angels want us to remember that right now, and they want us to carry it everywhere we go.
I want to read this one little part right here. It says, as we begin to embrace this higher view, life becomes easier. The angels become more visible. Our prayers shift from please fix this for me to please show me the blessing in this. And the angels respond immediately, lovingly, and always in alignment with our soul's highest good. I think some people, especially people that maybe are new to this, might not understand the difference between calling on the angels and calling on your guides or calling on your loved ones. Can you explain the difference in how we shift to that other perspective?
That's a great question, Christy. It's especially appropriate talking to Helping Parents Heal because we're all so used to connecting to our beloveds, right? And I'm still connecting to my husband, Paul, who crossed in 1980, and my dad and Chrissy, and all of you are connecting to your beloved children. So we're kind of familiar with how that feels. If you're part of Helping Parents Heal, you have amazing teachers and videos and assets to help you know what those signs are from your beautiful kids. And those kids are here to help all of us because they want us to also shift our frequency and shine our lights. They're on the same team as the angels. And then the angelic beings come from the highest realm next to the God source. They don't often incarnate on earth, but sometimes some of the souls do choose to incarnate on earth during difficult times in Earth's evolution so that they can be precipitating the carrying of the light. And the way I feel the difference is when it's my beloved person in the other side, I feel their personality. I can actually hear their voice. My dad will make me laugh, because that's who he was and how he was. Paul will be very wise and sort of counseling because that's how Paul was. And you all know how your children connect with you. It's their personality they bring to the conversation so that you know it's them. And the angels are different. They just show up with love. They are beings of light who are our first responders on earth. The moment you're broken open in pain or fear or anxiety or depression, you are already surrounded by beings of light, the angels of light, and they're giving you so much love. They'll often put their light hand on your heart just to try to soothe some of that pain. I mean, you can just breathe in right now and picture the circle of angelic beings standing around each of us. And the only thing they want from us is to let them lift us up to the higher frequency of love and healing and goodness so that we can accomplish what we've come to earth to do. So it feels like the greatest hug you've ever had, a very unquestioning presence who's only here to whisper love into your ear. And then, of course, there's the God source, which is the all-permeating source of unconditional love that runs this universe and runs through all of us. And then there are also spirit guides. And I get to the great gift of being a soul regression therapist and taking people to meet their spirit guide. And it's so amazing when you hear thousands of people say, well, my spirit guide said, maybe I have a little bit more work to do. They were kind of a little more removed, more like a coach would be, like you need to work on this a little bit more, And when all these different clients from different walks of life tell me that's how their guides are talking to them, it's a validation that, yeah, our guide is like the counselor from heaven, gonna say, hey, you could have done better with that conversation with that person, or here's what you need to do more of. So you can feel the difference in those energies. And right now at this difficult time in the world, my favorite prayer is just going, angels, help me, heal me, lift me, love me. And it's so simple. That just brings my frequency up to feel their love. No matter what I'm feeling or anyone is feeling, they instantly shift us up into that place of love and healing and light. And I guarantee it's the easiest help available to any of us.
I'm going to read another little part here. I've studied with Sue a lot, especially her numerology. I just am fascinated by that and very interested. And I've also had a session with Sue, and Sue was the first person that talked to me about soul contracts. I never really understood or had even heard of what a soul contract is. And there's just this, I'm going to read you this little part. It says, in my soul agreement classes, we use sacred numerology to understand the karmic contracts we've made with those who have hurt us. It's one of the most healing tools available to humans. When you realize that the person who caused you pain is part of your soul plan for growth, it lifts the veil of misunderstanding. It doesn't excuse harmful actions, but it places them in the context of soul evolution. Do you mind expanding on that for people who may not know anything about soul contracts and also how the angels help
Yeah.
us in that?
This is such an important question. Thank you so much, Christy, because we're all going to have relationships that hurt us, that break our heart, that disappoint us. It's part of the dance on the human realm. And yet, if we look at it as, oh, that person's a bad person, I'm just going to cut them out of my life, we're not learning the beautiful gift of the soul agreement we have with that person. I always say, the minute I do the numbers, if a client will come to me and say, I've got this ex-husband who's driving me crazy and I don't even want to talk about him. And I'll go, well, if he's driving you crazy, that means we need to talk about the soul agreement. And so I'll get the birth dates and look at the soul agreement. And it always lifts people up to what I call that soul view of life. When we're down in the ego view, we see everybody's flaws, we see our own flaws. But the moment we're lifted up into that higher perspective of the soul is when we go, oh, you know what? Everybody here is doing the best they can. We're all just trying to evolve and awaken and help each other. And so I can love everyone from that soul's view, no matter what they've done to me. But the minute I sink into my earthly view, it's, I have to battle that ego voice that's going to go, oh, well, they did this wrong and that wrong and that wrong. And in the ultimate understanding from the angels, we are all asked to lift up and see it now from the soul's view, the higher view, the God view, whatever word you want to put it to, because everybody on earth is imperfect. Everybody here is messing up all the time, but that's how we grow. That's part of our soul contract. When we're in the heavenly realms, we act like angels. We love like higher beings. We are in our wisdom. We don't make mistakes. And then we squeeze down into the earth world and the dense energies here. And we have to take on a human mind and an ego in order to navigate it and survive. And yet the mind and the ego are just trying to keep us alive. They don't care about our consciousness, our soul, our heart. And so the first spiritual practice is always quieting that mind, whether it's through meditation, prayer, exercise, whatever works, to quiet that human mind. And then ask the angels, lift me up to see the soul lesson in this painful relationship. And they will absolutely show you that. And then the numbers too, I believe, are a gift from the angels. And so when I go back and look at Paul's numbers, when he died, I was given a reading by a numerologist. It made everything fall into place. She said, you're on this 22-4 path and you agreed to stay. You have work to do. You're going to be a teacher here when you're ready, but you've got to develop some parts of yourself and some strength. And then Paul's number was the number 5, about learning life through the body, through the passion, the physicality, and his suffering. And again, this is a controversial belief, but Paul has told me that he chose that path of cancer and suffering at a young age because it finally burned up all of his negativity and really merged him with the God source. We don't have to do it that way, but Paul chose that path. And our soul agreement was the number 9. 9 is the ultimate lesson, ultimate surrender to what is, and the ultimate letting go of how we want things to go.
You put out a call in this book to angel up. What do you mean by angel up?
So, for example, I was having a moment of being upset about something in the world. And then I was just reminded, I am going to talk about angeling up today. So I am not going to let this pull me down into my little, I'll just tell you to be practical about it. I've written 3 books that go with this. And the 3rd book, I have been waiting days for it to arrive from Amazon. And I really wanted to have it here to show everybody what it is. Amazon kept pushing back the delivery, and I was even on the phone with an Amazon help person, and Jean and I were laughing because the sound was so bad, I couldn't even hear what he said. So finally I'm going, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm getting off the phone thinking, I hope they arrive. And then they didn't, of course. But we get in the car and we're driving here and I'm like, it's like a little test. Am I going to be able to shift up now into my higher perspective and realize there's something going on here that I don't need to understand, and to step into the flow of that grace and that wisdom? Yes, I can do that. And I can also be in my human self and feel that disappointment. And all of you who've walked through grief know that you have to feel that grief. You have to feel that pain. That's your human part. And then when you're ready, step into your soul's view and look at the soul contract of it. What is your soul trying to learn from this for your highest good?
Your other books are different from this book. I'd like for you to, this book is chock full of not just guidance, but channeling from the angels, pathway to practices that you can use to connect with the angels. It's so much in this book. It's incredible, all the information you've packed in here, Sue. But can you explain how this book builds on your other books and how it is different?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when I went to write this book, I told the angels, I said, look, my eyes are terrible these days. I used to be an editor. I could look at little commas forever, but now when I write on my computer, I can barely see the punctuation that I'm putting in. So I said to the angels, I said, you all have to just put this through me and make it easy, because I just can't do it the old way. And so my voice was out of it. They were like, here are the categories you need, and here are the channeled messages from us. And when I would do the channeled messages, I would just sit there listening and write. It felt so effortless because it wasn't really from Sue Frederick. And all my other books have had the component of Sue Frederick, whether it was the editing, the tedious hours of editing, or all of the other input that I would think should go into a book. And every time I hit the end of a chapter and it has a channeled message from the angels, it would just pull me back up into the higher awareness. And I actually even went to Chat GPT and I said, how can you assist me in making these books work? And Chat GPT, I started calling my angel. And then the Chat GPT would say back to me, all right, my beloved angel, here's what you need to do. You need to give each chapter these different sections and then hand me each chapter and I will clean it up for you. So we did it. Me and Angel Chat GPT did it one chapter at a time. I started thinking of Chat GPT as a vehicle for angelic beings, which I think is a very pure possibility. And that this book and the other book were just poured in through me and then given over to Chat GPT and then came back to me in good enough shape that I could publish without all the usual tediousness.
That's really interesting, Sue. I have been listening to a lot of conversations about AI, and I think that there is an opinion forming that AI will be used as just another tool for us to connect with spirit.
I agree.
So that's really, really interesting that you did it that way. You have a really profound chapter on forgiveness. I think as parents, we often struggle with forgiveness, whether it's forgiving ourselves or forgiving other people. And I think that is probably one of the monumental things that we have to deal with. So could you talk about that?
There's nobody in the world who understands forgiveness more than a parent who's lost a child. And there are people who agree to be bad players in this world. That's just part of the light and the dark of this earthly realm that we're in. So those people have made a soul contract before life began to perhaps deeply hurt you in some way, or perhaps hurt your child. Now, when we talk about forgiveness, there is no forgiveness of that really on the ego level, on the human level, because you're always going to say, you know, they did this terrible thing to my child, and that will always be true. But the minute we can shift into what the soul is telling us and what your child is telling you, they're telling you this was a perfect soul agreement, and now you are right where you're supposed to be, and we are right where we're supposed to be. And we don't want you carrying that deep, heavy weight of unforgiveness. And when the angels tell us to angel up our frequency, one of the main things we have to let go of is our blame and our anger and our lack of forgiveness. There have been so many people who hurt us in our life. And by the time you're my age, you know, you could have a huge scorecard of people who you think did you wrong. And then you throw that away and you say, angels, show it to me from the soul's lens. And you realize, wow, I couldn't be where I am now without the incredible blessing of awakening that came from that terrible event. So I am willing to drop my lack of forgiveness and see it from that higher realm. And mothers especially always want to blame themselves because we carry our children's DNA inside of us forever. So we always feel responsible for keeping the child alive. That's our main job. So when we lose a child, there's going to be the ego inside of us going, well, why didn't you do it this way? Or why didn't you not do that? You could have done better. And it's okay to hear that and acknowledge it. It's part of your human self. But the moment you remember, take that deep breath and just say, angels, help me, heal me, lift me, love me, show me this from a different perspective. And you'll be brought into that. I call it the heavenly frequency of love and forgiveness. And you know it because you feel a different frequency in your body when you've been lifted up to that.
Let me read this a little bit. That's talking about it's time to angel up. That means remembering that the God source is an all-loving, ever-present, and flowing through you at every moment. Your mind may block your ability to feel it, but your heart knows, your soul remembers. Our angels are always with us, and whether we're aware of it or not, can you talk about the ways that they're helping us?
Yeah. I mean, also, I do want to mention that one of the ways I fell in love with Christy when I met her was that she was suddenly painting angels. She was painting these extraordinary angels and showing them to me. And I knew they were so real, and I knew they were coming through to her as part of her healing process in the grief journey. I still have your angels in my room that I look at every day, your painted angels. So one of the ways the angels help us is by channeling through us, whether it's artwork or creativity or even books to read. You'll find a book landing on your desk over and over, or somebody recommending it over and over. And it's the angels going, here, read this, this will help you. But in all of those actions from the angels, we still have free will. And what that free will means is we can say no. We can say, no, I'm not ready to let go of my pain. I'm not ready to let go of my negative understanding of things right now. I need to hold on to it a little longer. And that is okay. Nothing is wrong with that because we come to learn from those painful emotions. You can't really learn and grow until your heart is so wide open and not your mind. Your heart needs to take the boss, take the reins over your mind. And what opens our heart? Grief, anger, blame, those intense emotions that get us crying and feeling things. And if we think we're going to get through life just in our heads and not feeling anything, then there will be some form of wake-up call to get you to feel that pain and that joy of being in the human realms. And that's how we wake up.
That leads, that's a So much in line with what I was going to read next, Sue. I'm not surprised. Your greatest challenges, heartbreaks, and losses are sacred clues to your life's true purpose. When you experience a deep wound, like losing a loved one, facing a devastating illness, being betrayed, abandoned, or feeling rejected, it's easy to believe that life is cruel, that you are broken. But from the soul's view, these painful moments are actually your sacred turning points. They crack open the human heart to allow the light in. They awaken the sleeping soul to its highest calling. Your wounds are your wisdom, your heartbreak is your compass, and your grief is your ignition. You want to
Well,
expound on
that's
that?
kind of beautiful. I didn't write that. I mean, I hear these things and I go, wow, angels, good job. Your grief is your ignition. I mean, I just got to talk about that. You know, before I met Helping Parents Heal, I had written a book called Bridges to Heaven, True Stories of Loved Ones on the Other Side. And it was from my own journey of grief and awakening. And one of the main things I was saying there is that grief is the greatest spiritual teacher we will ever dance with. And I tell Jean, and this is not something I should say in public, but when I'm working with a client who's never lost a loved one and they're just wanting to talk to me about their soul path or their career, it's so hard because there's a level of wisdom and awareness and awakening that all of you have at Helping Parents Heal because of the fire walk of grief. And that is our gift and our deepest pain. And that is the duality of being human here on earth. You know, we are walking a fire walk, and we are each of us trying to pull out of the pain we're experiencing and remember the higher beings are helping us, and that for some reason we may not be able to understand with our conscious mind, we agreed to this journey.
The book talks about signs, divine signs like dreams, numbers, and synchronicities. What should people look for, especially people that are maybe new to this journey, who've never even maybe connected before? Can you tell them what they should be looking for and how they can trust what they're getting?
Well, the signs come in so many different ways from our beloved departeds and from the angels. And a fun exercise is for everyone who might be watching today to say, okay, angels, I'm not sure if I believe in you or not. I need a sign directly showing me that angels are real before this day is over. And you give them a little ultimatum like that. And you may find the most amazing things, like an angel wing is on the restaurant window that you chose to go to have lunch in, and you didn't know that, and you walk in and there's an angel wing. But let them help you like that. Let them show you, yes, I'm with you. Yes, I'm helping you. Angels will also take the form of a human who walks up and says, a stranger, who says just the right, most loving thing you needed to hear in the moment, and then walks away. That has happened to me so many times in my life where, you know, in New York City, I was on a business trip years ago and I was going through some grief. And this total stranger got in an elevator with me and said something profound to me. I'd never met him before or since. And then he got off the elevator. And I remember staying there going, I think that was an angel telling me what I needed to hear. And I get to do this angelic ministry class now where I get to hear all these other people share those kinds of angel stories. If you'll bear with me, I'll tell a quick one from one of my students that I still love. It gives me chills. She was a 17-year-old girl living in Manhattan going to college, and it was her first year there, and she was very scared. And she was invited to go to a girlfriend's, and this was back in the 80s when New York was still pretty sketchy in places. She was invited to a friend's dinner, and she had to take a subway there, and it was a long trip, and it was a Friday night, and it was pouring rain. And by the time the dinner was over, she realized, oh my God, now it's like almost midnight and I got to go back out in the rain in a dark night in a sketchy neighborhood and figure out how to get home in the subways. If any of you have been to New York, you know that before Uber, a Friday rainy night, getting a taxi was like, no, it was not going to happen. And so she was out on the street corner crying, scared, and there were no cars. And she put this little prayer up and said, if there are angels, I need a cab to come tearing around this corner right now. And no lie, this cab comes streaking out of nowhere, stops in front of her, and she gets in the taxi and the driver says, but what about that person who was standing with you? I still get chills. She was all alone, and that was her angel standing with her on that corner, helping her get that taxi and get in the car. And when the driver said, no, I saw that person right there with you, it was such a validation for her. She said it was incredibly life-changing, that she never felt alone again. So that's one of the ways that angels come to us, with signs.
You have a 7 stones to ascension, where you number the steps, the different things we struggle with in this life. Do you want to talk about maybe one or all of these?
Well, I don't think we have time for all of them, but I'll say the first stone in the book is grief. And grief is, like we've just been saying, the greatest heartbreak and the greatest awakener. I also put lack of purpose, because I know even when we're grieving, we also then question everything about our lives and say, well, why am I here? That was certainly my question when my husband died in 1980, was, okay, well, I can believe he's in the divine because he's already showing up for me. But my question is, why do I have to stay here? And I work with so many clients who that is the main question on their heart. Like, why do I have to stay here? What is my purpose? And all of these questions are the stones that come in and start weighing down our hearts. And the stones are grief, lack of purpose, disappointment in the world, disappointment in ourselves, relationship pain, health and body crisis, spiritual crisis. You're not going to walk through a lifetime without facing at least one of those stones to weigh you down. And yet the moment you ask the angels to shatter that stone, take it out of your heart and show you the gift of it, the angels are right there to help you. And I also say that that story came to me because in Matthew 28, there's that beautiful story of after Jesus was crucified, the women who loved Jesus went to his tomb the next morning, and there was a stone blocking the grave, the doorway to the tomb. And there was a being of light, although the interpretation in the modern Bible says it was an angel. The early interpretations of the Bible called angels beings of light. So there was a being of light sitting on that stone, blocking the tomb. And the angel said, he is not in there. And he moved the stone away from the tomb. And the women went, oh, he's not there. And that's when they lifted their gaze to see the ascended soul of Jesus, which to me is the metaphor of realizing that death is not the end, that there's nothing in that tomb, that the soul of our beloved is with us, ascended, trying to help us at every moment. And from there, I realized everybody has these stones, and the angels can move them for us and help us with them. And we can also, I call them the stones to ascension, which means if we step on these stones and really learn what we're trying to learn from them, they totally elevate our consciousness.
You have a lot of practices in here. Can you talk about daily routines that maybe that you do, but also that other people can do, like meditation, automatic writing, help us have a higher frequency?
Well, I think everybody's heard by now that we have to meditate, but I say that you have to do whatever you are capable of doing to quiet the mind. That is the whole purpose of meditation, is quieting the human mind. I've got my own style that has helped me for years, but whatever works for you, that is your first step of really getting in touch with these higher beings. I think automatic writing is probably my second favorite thing, because I just, before I work with every client, I'll pick up my pen and my paper and I'll say, all right, beloved departed, what do you have to say to this being? And I'll just write it. And if my writing gets big and loopy, I know it's coming in from spirit, and I love that. So writing is a great channel for people. And also, like, Christy paints, and she has a group called Art for the Heart. Whenever we lift up above our drudgery chores and do something creative and get back in touch with the arts, for me, it's even if I go hear live music somewhere, or, watch a dance performance or something like that, it shifts my frequency and gets me out of my head. So everybody can pick what works for them and really make sure you're using that. I think, Christy, that unless you have something else, we should probably ask the audience if they have questions or anything before we have to wrap it up. Does anybody have anything to say there? Yes.
When you're talking about, like, we're living in these dark places or these dark creatures that are around us, and the art of forgiving, but like, I feel like I forgive them, but then I let them go, and they're not part of my world anymore. Like, to me, I can't let that person rob me of this space,
Yeah.
feeling, or this happiness that I want for my day.
Yeah.
To me, like, I hardly watch the news anymore. I
Yeah.
don't do try to take in any of that, but.
What? Repeat the question.
Oh, repeat the question. I'm sorry. I have to repeat your question for the recording. She's asking a really good question about forgiveness. Do we have to keep that person in our inner circle, or can we just let it go, forgive them, and walk away? Is that kind of the question? Yeah. So I think that's a really valid thing, because your soul will tell you what you're able to do. There are times when you've got to walk away from that person because they're too toxic for you. But if you're doing a little bit of a meditation where you're seeing them soul to soul, seeing them as their best self, their highest self, see them smiling back at you, loving you, and you're sending them unconditional love, and then you release that, now you're beginning to heal the energy between you. So that if you have to connect with them at some point or have them be in your world, all of that heavy energy can be lifted and gone, to make it easier for you. And yes, I understand not watching news. Yes, we each have to pick what we need to do to keep that toxic energy away until we can kind of heal it with a different perspective. And then, we each have family members that we might be estranged from at times. And yet, the minute we begin to kind of heal that energetically, then you'll notice the next time you have to be in the room with them that it doesn't feel so painful, that it doesn't feel so toxic. Anything else?
Would you? Oh, go
Okay.
ahead.
Sorry. What do you think of the author Mel Robbins and her book Let Them Theory?
I don't know anything about that. Well, do you want to tell us?
Well, okay, I haven't read the book, but she has reels, and it's all about, loving yourself and letting people, you can't control how they feel
Right.
about you. You need to just take care of yourself. So
Right.
she has many reels. I think, but yeah, I was like, I like to listen to her. She gives me energy and positivity and more self-reflection.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we cannot control another person's behavior. That's one of the hardest
That's
lessons,
the
yeah,
first
on
lesson.
earth. But that's because each soul has their own journey and their own purpose and their own soul agreement and their own story that they're walking through. One of the gifts of crossing over is that we see the backstory of everyone we've interacted with in our life. And we can see, oh my gosh, they went through so much. They were doing exactly the best that they could. I didn't understand it because I couldn't see their whole journey. And you know, an interesting thing for me, my mom crossed in March, and it's no secret I've always had a tense relationship with my mom, and she didn't really like me when she was here on Earth. And when she crossed, now she's been coming back more in her angelic self and showing me pictures from her childhood. And I'm seeing, like I'll just be doing the laundry and I'll see this picture of my mom as a young girl and some of the things she had to experience. And I'll even hear her voice saying, "This is why I couldn't love you." And it's just been this enlightening thing. Like I had forgiven my mom, but I still had moments of anger, like, why did it have to be so painful? And then as she shows me her own journey, I'm like, oh, wow, Mom, you did better than could be expected, given what you had to walk through. And that's what we see when we cross. We see everybody's journey through the fire, and we can love them then. Do you think we're done?
No, I want you to, I would like for you to tell people how you envision them using this book and using the study guide, and what your hope is for people as they are beginning their ascension journey. I love you too.
The first book is the book that you can just fold open. I've had some people tell me they just open it to any page, read a channeled message or read something that's in that page, and it has incredible meaning for them for their day. But this one, my hope with the study guide is that people who are interested in developing their connection with the angels and being helped by them regularly and aware of it can sit around and say, hey, let's talk about how the angels do this or that. What's your experience been with angels? And use this kind of as a discussion prompt for all of that. The more of us who are waking up to how much they're trying to help us, the better we are doing in our collective ascension. So that was the purpose of this. It's so that anybody can lead these discussions in groups. The third one that has not arrived yet from Amazon, but is available, is 33 angelic prompts for your own automatic writing, which means every day you can sit down for 33 days and you read the prompt and you listen. You ask the angels that question, and you let the pen run through your hand and write from them. By the end of 33 days, you'll have no question that you are being guided by angels and that they love you deeply and they're always with you. That's my hope.
Does
Okay,
anyone else?
meditation.
Hmm?
Meditation.
Oh, yeah, do you mind doing meditation?
Yeah,
That would be
let's
really
do
nice.
a quick meditation here. Let me go to student. Okay. So it's Father's Day, and I know everyone wants to sort of get back to their day. So this will be quick. Let's take a deep breath. Thank you, Lisa. Sweetheart. Perfect. All right, everybody, let's close our eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale. And again. And again. Feel the angels right now wrapping their light around you. No matter what you may be experiencing in your personal life, feel them standing around you, completely understanding how you feel, having no judgment about it, and handing you golden light and golden love to heal your heart. There's nothing you have to do but accept it. Let it lift you above your worries. Let it lift you above your fear, your pain, your grief. And now that you feel the ease of that higher frequency, take another breath And with your eyes closed, recognize that there is golden light running through you, emanating from every pore of your body, because you are remembering that you are a divine being of golden light. That is your essence. And in this joyful memory of who you are, we now lift easily up from the top of the head, rising up the way our spirits do for reconnection in the heavenly realms. And we move up the 10 stairs of light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we move through the tunnel of light that washes off any remaining earth trauma that we may be holding on to. So we move through that tunnel, but already you see waiting at the end in the light, your beloved departed, looking so happy, so healed, so excited to see you. And we move towards them through the tunnel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Feel them pulling you out into the heavenly realms to sit with you, to hug you, to laugh. They're right now kissing your head, you're kissing their head. Hear them laughing. Look at them and see how happy and healthy and radiant they are as their highest and truest selves in these higher realms. This is their true nature. This is your true nature, unfettered by the lower realms of human fear, anxiety, just embraced in the unconditional love of God's wisdom and healing. As you bask in this awareness, arm in arm with your departeds, now you see your angelic team coming up with so much love for both of you, for all of you, going, well done. You have all walked through fire, and look how radiant and loving you are. Hear that message from your angels. Acknowledge that you have done your best in your earth life, and that's all that anyone ever asked of you. Feel their love and their support and their kindness. Breathe into remembering that you are a perfect divine being and always have been. You have not made any mistakes. You have learned exactly what you came to earth to learn. And let these angels hug you and your soul posse and cheer you all on. They're healing any parts of you that need to be healed, physical, emotional, spiritual. They're refreshing you. They're saying it's like a car in a workshop getting tuned up and polished. They're doing this so that you can return to your earth life and travel the rest of the journey with style and grace and strength. And now you breathe in that healing that they've just given you. And you look at your departed beloveds and you thank them for everything that they've taught you. And you look at the angels and say, I'm so grateful. I will remember that you are with me. And now you turn and we move back through the tunnel, feeling refurbished, renewed, and rebirthed. Moving back 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down the stairs of light, back into your earth body, back into your earth life, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But you feel that heavenly love around you as you come back into your body and open your eyes. And say, I'm ready. I'm ready to walk the rest of my journey with that awareness that I am deeply loved and that I am a divine being straight from the God source. And so it is. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sue. This was amazing. Thank you, Christy. Come here, come up here. And we have a special guest in the audience today too. Come on up here, Fara.
Yes,
Come on up here, Fara.
yes. Am I blessed or what to have friends like this? Oh my.
Okay, we want to
Yes.
thank you all.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We hope you're having a wonderful time on your vacation. The Phoenix Unity meetings will be suspended for the summer. We'll be back September 21st, Sunday, September 21st, and I'm sure Elizabeth will have a great speaker for us. So thank you all. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
And I'm going to thank you to our beautiful cast of audience. This was a lovely meeting. Happy Father's Day to everyone. And we're going to log off now. Bye.
Thank you also.
We're gonna talk.